Hey folks, it's Eric from Belgrade Beat on the streets once again. Streets of Belgrade are a little wet today because, well, it was raining, but it's still a nice June day. So, how are you guys doing? Hope you're in good spirits. I just got back from holiday in Montenegro and Albania because, well, I went to those countries because they were the ones where I could go without PCR test, quarantine, any of that nonsense. So I did it, and just to note that there's a little bit of mixed information out there about getting back into Serbia without PCR test from Montenegro and Albania and all those countries. Basically, only if you're a resident or a citizen of Serbia can you come without a PCR test from Montenegro, Albania, so on and so forth. But there's some information on the internet that you don't need it if you basically aren't, if you're just a tourist. But you do. So they asked me at the border, do you have a PCR test? I go, no, I don't need it because I have a boravak, which is a residence permit for Serbia. And he looked, he's like, okay, fine. So yeah, mixed messages out there about that. So, what did I think about Albania is what everybody wants to know, I suppose. I went there with an open mind, hoping that I would discover a culture that was new and exotic to me, or friendly. Or I would say the people are very friendly, but the level of the development of the infrastructure and sort of the society and the cultural stuff in general that you find over there just doesn't really have the Central European flair that you find here in Belgrade. It's a much different sort of thing. So yeah, basically it's kind of like, it has a lot in common. The culture has a lot in common with like smaller places in Serbia. Now, I did spend one night in Tirana, and it was cool. It had a little bit of a cosmopolitan flair, but not as much as Belgrade, that's for sure. I'd put it on the same sort of level as Sofia, Bulgaria, or something like that. Yeah, the coast was nice, but it's completely raw and rough around the edges. People were nice, as I said. No issue with driving a Serbian rental car. No issue with anything like that. And people, pretty much, there was nobody who was like too outwardly like friendly. Like I encountered when I first came to Belgrade, like people like, hey, where are you from? So excited to see a foreigner. Nothing like that. The food was really good. The vegetables, I would say, are even more like traditional agriculture than in Serbia, somehow. It was just like next level of that. The goat's cheese was really good. Yeah, food ingredients. I'm not talking about cuisine. I didn't try much cuisine because I have a specific diet that I follow most of the time. But yeah, the coastal cities. What really surprised me was how messy it was on the coast and how undeveloped their Mediterranean coast comparing to Montenegro. It's like really shocking how just raw and rough it is on the coast of Albania. The one highlight of the Albania portion was Berat, which is a city in the mountains, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And yeah, it's beautiful. It's an old Ottoman sort of town with Ottoman architecture and just a really cool vibe and stuff like that. Really interesting, an old fortress and all that sort of stuff, Balkan stuff. Really well preserved or maintained or whatever, restored, whatever you want to say. So yeah, overall I didn't feel like as at home in Albania as I feel in Serbia, as I felt in Montenegro actually. But that's, I guess, to be assumed because like I speak this Serbo-Croatian language, Montenegrin, Bosnian language, having lived in Belgrade for many years, and Albanian is completely different, but the people are pretty much the same. Lots of similar types of facial expressions and behaviors, like the guys with the man purse who sit in the cafes, blah 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 all day. They have those there, but that's almost everybody in Albania, whereas in Belgrade you've got lots of people like that, but you also have more like artistic people and more intellectual people, whereas I didn't really get that vibe from Albania at all. Yeah. So that's kind of the Albania update. I was hoping it was going to be more exotic to me. Like, for example, I was hoping it was going to be the magic of Turkey, because when I go to Turkey, when I've been in Turkey, it just has this flair of culture which is just undeniable, and the richness of culture and tradition that's undeniable. And I kept on thinking with Albania, wow, communism really did a number on these people. It really messed up their whatever tradition that they had from the Ottoman Empire, I suppose, was beaten out of them by a brutal communist regime that was pretty ridiculous. So moving on to Montenegro, it was my second trip there. First, on my way to Albania, I went to Podgorica. I went from Belgrade to Podgorica in one day, left around noon, got there around 10 p.m. And not much to see there, folks. If you're used to life in Belgrade, it's not really anything noteworthy. It's not by the sea. It's not really like, I don't know. It's nice. It's relaxed. I wouldn't say that it's cool, and I wouldn't say that it's got a buzz or anything like that, but you know, whatever. It's the capital of Montenegro. Now, what's really special about Montenegro is like the seaside, right? That's what everybody goes there for, to chill out on the sea. So first, yeah, on the sea, I went to Bar, and I found Bar kind of like Novi Belgrade, like New Belgrade by the sea. You know, that sort of tacky communist architecture and stuff like that, except for they have sea instead of the river Sava, basically. That was the main difference. Everything, you know, of course there's other differences and stuff like that, had more a resort town vibe rather than a, you know, Belgrade suburb vibe. Let's see, next I went to Adabojana and Ulcin, the city at the southernmost part where things are actually more Albanian than Montenegrin, the people there. And Adabojana is of course a place where a lot of people from Belgrade go to enjoy the summer. It's got like a more nature-y vibe than a city vibe. You know, it's just a bunch of restaurants or boats and, you know, beach stuff. That was cool, but it was off season, so there wasn't really anybody there. So I'd like to see it one time when it's on season. Now Ulcin, the city which is like the Albanian center of Montenegro, the Montenegro center of Albanian culture, that was pretty cool. I mean, it was a lot more well put together than most of the places that I saw on the Albanian coast, for sure. And it had that sort of flair of culture that I was missing from Albania, actually. And it was really nice to see how the two languages and two ethnicities of people function really well together in a city. And then I went to Kotor. I passed by Budva, but that's really not my vibe. You know, like, that's, nope. Yeah, just no, it's not my thing. I mean, maybe I'll change, but I don't think so. Too much trying to be like Miami or whatever, and this like new money trying to be fancy vibe, you know, people showing off and stuff like that. Nice old city though, nice old city for sure in Budva. But I went to Bar, and that was a really good experience. It was my second time. No, not Bar, sorry, Kotor. The Bay of Kotor is beautiful, and the city of Kotor, the old city, I stayed in an Airbnb in the old city walls of Kotor, and it was absolutely wonderful. Nice little town, chilled out vibes, really walkable, small town with a lot of history. So that was the highlight of my trip. I just got back from there yesterday. Now I'm back in Belgrade and adjusting to the city life again. I haven't had a cup of coffee. I decided for my holiday to go off coffee, and haven't had a cup of coffee since 2 weeks ago Sunday, so 12 days. And I feel good, really relaxed, but you know, there's this Belgrade pace of life where everybody's honking their horns, kind of aggressive churn of the big city. And I saw nothing like this in my entire trip, so it's interesting to get back to this, still being relaxed from my vacation. And just walking down the street, I had a guy honk at me at a crosswalk because he had to stop his car for me to cross at the crosswalk, which is actually the law, I think, here. And I was just like, yeah, well, people here are a little bit too stressed out and aggressive in Belgrade somehow, in a lot of ways, or they're a little too like on the edge. I don't know. You know, there's definitely a hustle in the city. You need that sort of hustle to, you know, have people strive to do something with their lives, I suppose. That's why big cities are traditionally, you know, the center of commerce and center of culture and arts and stuff like that, because they have this energy, this buzz that makes people do stuff. And Belgrade has always been that place for me, and it continues to be. And I'm just getting back into the vibe. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Ah, it's so loud. Okay, those buses, they really need to make them less loud. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you later. And yeah, check out Montenegro and Albania if you're looking for, I guess, what I described. I'll catch you guys later. Bye now.